Hello, and welcome to the Arrivals Podcast. I'm your host, Merelise Wilson, and today I am so excited to have Julie Moran here with me talking about birth and all the things.
Yay! I'm so excited to be here. I'm pumped. I have so many stories.
I know. You're such a good storyteller, too.
Oh, thank you. I don't know. Sometimes.
No, all the time, for sure.
It's gonna be a wild ride. I feel like we should have a warning label.
I know, buckle up.
Woo, buckle up.
Buckle up. We have wine.
We do have
well.
wine because it's Friday,
Yeah.
and you might need some listening.
Yes. Get your wine, get your tissues.
Yep, get the tissues. We're gonna take a sip.
Mm-hmm.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers to all the mamas.
Yes, to all the mamas. I love that.
Yeah.
So you've got 3 kiddos now.
I've got 3. Who gave me permission? Hindsight. Whoa, that's a lot. But you know what? We're doing it. I love them. They're all very different from each other.
Yeah.
They're all busy and funny in their own little ways. And sometimes I'm like, how in the world am I like a grown adult with 3 children and all these things that have happened when yesterday we were hanging out at KA.
I know.
At Georgia Tech or whatever, you know?
The glory days.
It's wild.
It is wild. I think about that too, especially with people like you who I've known for a long time. And then like thinking about how we met. And then when I've interviewed them sitting in these chairs, it's like, no. We're still 20.
Yes.
Still chugging champagne.
Yes.
Like it's wild.
It is so insane. I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't wrap my head around the time of it goes just so fast.
It does. And I know our generation jokes about all the things we've lived through, but COVID was truly a black hole of time.
Yes.
And for all of us who became parents during COVID,
yes.
Then that just, I feel like, is accentuated.
It's like a 2-year gap, which felt like 5 years when you were in it. And now looking back, I'm like, wait, that felt like no time, but it's like a time warp.
Yeah.
And just to become a parent when you're supposed to become a parent with this whole support system and other moms and neighbors and all that, and you're just alone is a crazy way to become a parent.
Yes.
That is unique to only like our little generation.
Yeah.
And I mean, my mom friends and I now got so close so quick.
Yeah.
We all met through daycare.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, I worked at the daycare at the time, and I just emailed everyone. And I was like, do y'all want to meet up for a happy hour? And immediately everybody was like, yes. Like no one had seen anyone. And we're all still best friends. This was 6 years ago now.
Yeah.
But everybody was just so desperate for connection, and none of us had support. And people around us are like, hey, how did y'all get so close so quick? And I was like, we all had babies in COVID.
Right. Trauma bonding,
which we're about to do.
Yes. Well, I guess, that's a perfect segue too. So you got pregnant with Kinsey in 2019?
December 2019. So I was supposed to go back to work in late March.
And you were a teacher at the time?
Mm-hmm. I was teaching 2nd grade, and I had to go back early to learn how to work Zoom.
That's so insane to think about.
Insane.
It's like breathing, you know?
I know, but we had never even heard of it.
So crazy.
And I had to go in for this teacher work day to learn how to do Zoom, and they were like, you'll have to come back a little early, but just like 3 or 4 days. I was like, okay, whatever, I'll get out of the house.
Yeah.
I'm excited to get out of the house and see people that I haven't seen for 3 months. Little did I know, I was about to not see anyone for a year. Because then the shutdown happened, and I am in this tiny condo with my husband, who's also on Zoom the whole time, all day. And I'm on Zoom all day. And like, who's with the baby? Me. I'm on Zoom and with the baby.
Right.
On my boob, and I have to turn off my camera and trying to read to 22nd graders.
Right.
It was insane.
Yeah.
So my husband, Charles, at the time would go, he'd work till 4, and I'd work till 4 with the baby. And he'd then from 4 p.m. to 10 p.m., he would go fix up the house. because that was his outlet. We couldn't
Yeah.
go anywhere.
Yeah.
So at least we had this house. He'd have like friends come over and drink beer and like paint the walls.
Yeah.
And I'd like bring them dinner with the baby.
Yeah.
And it was like we did that for 6-7 weeks.
Wow.
And then, when she turned 1, we got pregnant with Charlie immediately. I mean,
Wait.
I'm pretty sure it was like on her birthday night. We were
I
like,
love
oh, we don't have a baby. We should have another.
Life isn't crazy enough.
What? We're finally sleeping through the night. Let's not anymore.
I know. Wait, before we get all the way to that, though.
I know. There's a lot.
Yes, but so Kenzie's birth.
Okay, so her birth story is so interesting because I look at it in hindsight now, and then after having 2 babies, I think the biggest thing, my biggest takeaway before I even tell the story is like no one prepared me for what an induction means with your first baby.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you've had a few babies, it's very different.
Yeah.
Your body knows what to do. But my mom says, now that I've had 3 pregnancies, that I'm very good at being pregnant until month 9.
Yeah.
And I'm done. So it was like 37 weeks. I was starting to go a little crazy.
Yeah.
And 38 weeks, I was crazy. So they finally agreed to induce me at like 39 and a half or something.
Okay. So you were asking.
I was asking. Yeah. I was like, I'm going crazy.
Yeah.
And so they were like, well, we have all, it's booked, but if we have an opening, we'll call you. So we were at dinner and they called and they were like, do you want to come in? And I was like, heck yeah, I'm going to have a baby tonight, thinking it was going to happen that night. Like I had no idea.
Yeah.
No one told me.
Yeah.
And my main thing was I didn't want a C-section. Mm-hmm. And so I had midwives the whole time. Mm-hmm. Because they're a little bit better at the hospital that I was at. I was at Northside. Mm-hmm. A little bit better at advocating.
Low intervention.
Yes.
Usually.
And like,
lower.
Let's try everything else before we get to that point.
Yeah. But they didn't like tell you anything about, hey, if you opt for an induction, this might happen, that might happen. Yeah.
Nothing. And I was one of the first, I think, out of my friend group at the time to have a baby. Yeah. So like no one, my only other good friend that had a baby had a lot of issues and problems. So like hers was planned, it was just very different. So we go in at 11 o'clock at night mm-hmm. and they do that medicine that you go to sleep with.
Ambien?
No, well, you go to sleep, but the medicine that puts you into labor and then they're like, sleep all night.
Oh, side attack?
Yes. Okay. Yes. So they do that and they're like, sleep all night. And you're like, K?
Right.
What?
Your brain's going 1,000,000 miles a minute.
I was kind of just like, wait, so are you putting me into labor, but you're telling me to go, you're going to be back in like 6? I'm confused.
So the baby's not coming now.
So it's not coming now. And then so, I slept a little bit and I woke up the next morning. I was like, today's baby day.
Yeah.
And nothing was happening
mm-hmm.
and nothing was happening and nothing was happening. And they did the balloon mm-hmm. twice. They did Pitocin. They did blah, 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 blah. All these different things for like almost, it was 4 rotations, so 48 hours. Mm. So I was quote unquote in labor for 48 hours. Like they were giving me Pitocin. So I was contracting the whole time and not sleeping and not being able to eat. And none of the nurses or doctors or midwives on call on any of the rounds could figure out why I wasn't dilating.
Yeah.
And then finally, it was so we got there Friday night. This was Sunday afternoon. I was losing my mind.
And were you in a lot of pain?
Yes.
Yeah, because Pitocin contractions are...
So I was full on contracting since the minute they gave me Pitocin. Like everything was happening except for dilation.
So you were still just like 1 or 2 centimeters or like...
Nothing.
Oh my God.
They were like, it's hard as a rock. And then so this angel of a midwife came in and she gave me an exam and was like, this is hard as a rock. Has anybody asked you if you, like, did you have surgery or anything? And I go, no. I had an IUD one time that was super painful and I got it taken out immediately because I was like bending over, like in pain. And she goes, you have scar tissue up here. You're not going to dilate at all. We need to cut it.
Oh my God.
Yes. So, like, hindsight, I am glad we got induced because that would have never, they may not have ever found out and I'd go
Right.
straight into C-section if I'd labored at home. I don't know.
That's
But,
so crazy that your OB never caught it during any annual exams or
and then I was there for 2.5 days before anybody had caught it.
thank God for her.
I know. I mean, she truly, like, saved the baby and me because at this point it was, like, getting dangerous, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
And so I had not had an epidural this whole time
Oh my God.
because I was like, I need to wait until
Right.
whatever. So I was miserable. And I didn't have the epidural yet. And they went up there to cut my cervix. And I passed out and threw up. I don't remember any of it. Like, Charles told me this later on. And then they go, okay, we can't do any more until she has the epidural. Like, I'm like,
No shit.
no shit.
Oh my God.
No shit.
They did that without an epidural?
No pain medicine.
No local anesthesia, nothing?
No. No.
Oh my God.
No. Yeah.
Oh, no kidding, you passed out.
Yeah. So then they gave me the epidural. And once that kicked in, they came back and cut the rest. And I pushed for 2 hours. I went to 9 centimeters
Like that?
immediately.
Oh my God, that's
Immediately.
wild. I mean, in hindsight,
Yeah.
thank God they gave you the epidural right then, because if you
Yeah.
had gone from 0 to 9 centimeters in 10, 15, 20 minutes, I can't imagine how painful that would have been.
Right. So, yeah, then I pushed for 2 full hours after 3 days of, like, no food and labor, and
No sleep.
no sleep, and she came out, and you know how they say, like, I cried when she was born?
Mhm.
I cried, but it was pure relief.
Yeah.
It was, I didn't really feel an attachment to her right away because
Yeah.
I was so exhausted emotionally and physically. I was so ready for labor to be over. They were like, we see her head. And I went down there. I was like, well, then get her out. I
Right.
pulled her out and I put her on my chest and I just started sobbing of like, it's
It's
over.
over.
Because this felt like it was going to last forever.
Right. It had stopped being about meeting your baby and it started being about making this end.
Yes,
Yeah.
making this end, like survival.
Yeah.
And so, you know how they clean up the baby, they weigh, whatever.
Mhm.
At this point, it's 2 a.m. Sunday morning. We got there Friday night. So it had been a full 52 hours before she was born. And I think they cleaned her up and they were like, oh, skin to skin time. We'll leave you guys alone. And I looked at my husband and I go, you have to take her. I'm falling asleep.
Yeah.
Like, I hadn't slept and I was so like exhausted. And so he would tell the story all the time that like my wife fell asleep and all the nurses left and I'm just holding this baby for like 2 hours. And he was like, is anyone coming back? And he's like, am I supposed to feed it? Like, he's like, I don't know what's happening.
And was he like afraid to put her down? Was he like,
Yeah.
skin to skin, I have to hold her?
Oh,
like,
yeah. He was just holding her. Like, I ended up seeing a bunch of selfies of them later, but he just was like, is this okay? Like,
I feel like that's actually really perfect because I know they had such a close little
Yes.
relationship. And I feel like that is
From the
just,
get-go.
yes, like
yeah.
he was set up to
Mhm.
just be her little, be her person.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yes. So that was a wild ride.
to say the least.
To say the least. And then, of course it's not over. So she had jaundice, even though she wasn't a preemie or anything. So she had to stay in those little LED lights for almost a week.
Ugh.
And I cried and cried and cried leaving the hospital without her. I was unwell.
So she had to stay in the NICU?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Even though she's not, like,
Right.
nothing.
she's probably the biggest baby in the NICU.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was so strange. We finally convinced them to take her home with the little, I call it like the baby tanning bed.
Yes.
So we had a to-go baby tanning bed that we rented for God knows how much money and had her in there for like 2 days and then we could like actually swaddle her and actually try to put her to sleep and stuff. It was an insane first experience to becoming a mom. I was like, oh, okay.
Like the birth. See, I always say that, birth is misrepresented and like films and TVs is horrible and hard and terrible. But you're like, oh no, it really was horrible and hard and terrible.
Yes. Yes. And, I think too, when you're in the hospital bed that long, one of the hardest things I feel like about labor and birth and postpartum is you don't get to go outside.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing
Yes.
that you don't realize is really hard. And then especially if you have a baby in the winter. She was born December 2nd. So I remember my sister-in-law told me she had 3 babies before I ever had one,
Yeah.
which was so very helpful.
Yes.
And she was like, go outside every day.
Yeah.
She's like, I don't care if it's raining. I don't care if it's snowing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if it's 30 degrees. You go outside every day, period.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay.
And you still do that.
And I still do
Yeah.
that. Like, it's like ingrained in my head from now on. I'm like, okay, if I'm getting the SADs,
Yeah.
you know, we don't want to get the SADs, go outside. Like how the Gen Z, they're like, touch grass.
Right.
Literally, you got to go outside, you got to
Feel the
touch
sun in your
grass, you got to
face.
feel the sun, you got
Yeah.
to breathe in the fresh air.
Yeah. That's wild.
Yeah.
I mean, what was Charles's like? I mean, was he freaking out? Was he like, what was his experience? Like,
He
was he
was
scared?
full anxiety mode, like during the whole. So my other sister-in-law, actually, this was so helpful to us because otherwise we would have been so clueless.
Mm-hmm.
She was an L&D nurse,
Right.
labor and delivery nurse at that same hospital a few years before.
Yeah.
So she knew a few of the nurses and asked them to come like talk to us. And then she was kind of giving us a play-by-play. And she was like, yeah, so first babies when you get induced kind of takes this long.
Mm-hmm.
And we were like, what?
Yeah. No one told us this.
It's too late now. We're here. So that was very helpful.
Yeah.
But he was losing his mind because he was like, I need to go outside. And so by the time we had the baby, I mean, he'd been in that hospital 3 days. I was like, please leave.
Yeah.
So he like went to work and they were like, isn't your wife in the hospital with the baby? He was like, I had to get out of there.
Yeah. She told me to leave.
She told me to
I
leave.
swear.
Yeah. I was like, truly.
Yeah.
We went on a couple work meetings and I was like, honestly,
You're not missing anything in those
please.
early days.
Yeah. No. Get out of my face, you know?
Yes, absolutely. So I know you said you did not tear, right?
Mm-mm.
Which is
Yeah.
crazy for 2.5 hours of pushing.
I know.
But was there any sort of unique recovery with them having to cut your cervix?
Probably, but I didn't know any different.
Right.
You know? So, I mean, yeah, I had terrible postpartum cramps. Oh, that's probably why.
Yeah.
I just realized this. I never had like the pre-labor cramps were not that bad for me.
Yeah.
Post-labor cramps, I was passing out and they had to give me morphine.
Oh my God.
The next day.
I'm sure that was it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Because why? And I've talked to so many people and they're like, oh, mine afterwards weren't that bad at all.
That's totally it. I mean, your cervix is like torn for all, like practical, because it's supposed to naturally
over time.
Right. But you had a
was
wound.
like sliced. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm glad we figured that out.
I
It's
know.
been productive.
Gosh. Wow. Okay. I'm probably going to realize a lot of stuff. Just
I
talking
love
out.
it.
Because I mean, that's another, why this podcast exists.
Yes.
Is because you realize a lot of stuff that maybe you didn't even know.
Yeah.
Because you don't talk about it.
Right. And like you said, you were one of your first friends to have a baby.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I want this to be for people. It's like, oh, I don't have anyone I can talk to, or I don't know anyone who's had a baby. Like,
yes.
I'm going to go talk to my however many best friends who've been on the podcast and hear their stories and experiences. And
yeah. It was wild. Yes. I feel like postpartum with that one, I was just so in love with her that I was so happy. I was like, I've wanted to be a mom since I was 8, and we were just living in our little bubble and it was great.
Yeah.
From what I remember, I mean, I do remember the sleep deprivation at one point. I made my mom keep the baby at her house at like 8 weeks.
Yeah.
Because she was going through the sleep regression. I hadn't slept more than 2 hours in 8 weeks.
Oh my God.
And so she was like, are you sure? Like, this is an 8-week-old baby. You sure you want to be away from her for a whole night? And I was like, I've never been more sure of anything.
Yes.
I was like, I'm so tired.
Take her. It'll be the best thing for both of us. Yeah.
Yes. I was like, please. And that's like the main thing I remember. I mean, my husband would travel. He was a consultant. I was happy as a clam at home with that baby.
Yeah.
It was great.
But you were also balancing working and...
Well, yeah, until COVID. It was like, then...
So she was born December 2019. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So she was right at 3 months when COVID hit. Hindsight, again, is 2020. I'm so glad that I was with her that whole time. And the way that everything worked out, like, my husband got to spend time with her every day, all day, which he normally would travel every week.
Right.
So that was great. Like, it was just very nice to be with her every day. I would get really, I think, burned out and tired and like desperate for friends.
Yes, of course.
But like, just considering the postpartum aspect, I feel like it could have been a lot worse in that circumstance.
Yeah.
I never got postpartum depression. I was just happy to be there, you know?
Yeah.
And then, you know, that's why we probably got pregnant with number 2,
You're like,
right?
"This
At
is
the
great."
1-year day, I was like, let's do
Yes.
it again.
Yes. So you got pregnant with Charlie.
Mhm.
So Kenzie's still a baby,
She's
basically.
a baby. Yes. I mean, she was 12 months when we found out that we were pregnant with Charlie.
Wow.
Yes.
Was it pure excitement or were you kind of like, oh shit, what have we done?
I'd say 50-50.
Yeah.
I was more, oh shit, and then my husband, because, you know, their lives aren't going to change.
No.
Or they don't think it is. So he was like, this is great. It literally, oh my gosh, this is so funny. This is how I told him. I didn't tell him for 2 whole days.
I don't know how
so
you.
nervous.
Oh my gosh. Oh.
And we were, I mean, it was Christmas break. We were home. And one day at lunchtime, he was like changing clothes in the closet. So he was like buttoning his pants. And I go, I'm holding the baby. And I go, I'm pregnant. And he goes, you couldn't wait for me to zip my pants? And I was like, I don't know. I'm really nervous. And he was like, no, isn't this what we wanted? And I was like, okay, yeah, okay.
Totally.
Right. Yes. Yes. What you said.
Yes. I need those vibes.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. Got it. We're good.
Oh my gosh.
So, I mean, by that point, it was early 2021. I found out I was pregnant in December 2020. So when we went back to school after Christmas break, I was like secretly pregnant, but still at the school. And I remember just being so tired. Like, he took all my energy.
Yeah.
But other than being so tired, I was decent. A decent pregnancy. I think the majority of the difficulties was the fact that I was working full time and I had a baby. Like, I had a 1-year-old.
Right.
No wonder I was exhausted.
Yeah.
So that was pretty hard.
Yeah.
Just living the day to day and like getting up at 6 a.m. to go to school, and it was a lot.
Yeah.
But once the summertime came, it was a lot easier, I'd say. And then he was due to September 7th, which he came September 1st.
Okay.
Which I was actually induced again
Okay.
for this one because he was such a big baby.
Really? So, okay. So leading up to his birth,
Yes.
having been through Kenzie's, which was less than ideal,
Mm-hmm.
did you make any changes to your approach? Like, did you decide to, and there's no right answer to this, obviously.
Right.
Like, did you go in with like a birth plan or preferences, or like, did you change anything with your approach for Charlie's birth?
I came in with a lot more knowledge, thank goodness. And luckily, the main issue with Kenzie was obviously the cervix thing, which they had removed the scar tissue when I was in labor with Kenzie. So they were like, I was so nervous. I was like, is this going to be an issue again? They were like, no, it's gone. It's gone. Okay.
Wait, so hold on, backtrack. They were not only just cutting your cervix, they were scraping out scar tissue, and they were planning on doing that without an epidural. Hold on, I just need to take a minute for that. Okay,
correct.
continue.
Correct.
That's crazy.
Yes.
Oh my God.
And yes. And then, yes.
Okay, got that right. Okay.
Yep.
The good news is scar tissue's not there anymore.
And I was just like, I am not getting induced ever again.
No.
That was terrible, blah, blah, blah. Fast forward 38 weeks, and I'm miserable. He's huge.
Yeah.
We go in for an induction at like 7 a.m. on September 1st. And this time, I'm like, we're literally listening to rap music on the way to the hospital. I have my hair braided. I've got makeup on. I'm like, let's
Yeah.
go. You know, I
Game
am
time.
ready. And we get there. It was the easiest out of all three.
Yeah.
The easiest, like, fun, quote
Yeah.
unquote, labor
Yeah.
ever. We check in and they get me on Pitocin maybe by 8:30.
Were you dilated at all?
I think like 2
Okay.
centimeters, a
Yeah.
smidge. But I think because they were so back-to-back babies, they
Mhm.
were 21 months apart,
Wow.
20, 21, something like
Wow.
that. Yeah. So I think my body was like, yeah, we know what to do.
I remember
I
this.
remember
Yeah.
this. This wasn't that long ago. So I went into labor. I think I pushed maybe 20 minutes at like
Wow.
7 p.m. and he was born.
So did you with Pitocin, like, did your contractions start pretty quickly and then you just kinda got the epidural, like, when you feel like you couldn't bear it anymore?
Yes.
Wow.
And then I didn't feel a thing. The epidural worked gloriously. I think I took a nap in the afternoon. We were listening to fun music. Like, my husband at this point, it's like made a soundtrack.
Yeah.
We were listening to Push It,
Yes.
and he was born at 7:30, and we were
Wow.
there just like barely 12 hours. And I was like, this is great.
Yes.
This was wonderful.
I can do this.
I can do this
Yeah.
over and over again. And he came out, and I remember looking at Charles and going, this is my soulmate. And he
Oh.
was like, okay, that's excessive.
He was like, excuse me."
But it was such a different experience because
Yeah.
I got to love the baby immediately.
Yes.
Because I didn't have the exhaustion or relief or like all the other things that I
Trauma,
had,
yeah.
the trauma with the first baby, that I could really take in the moment. And like, I was like, oh my God, I love this baby.
Yeah.
It was so great.
So
Like,
beautiful.
that's what a birth story should be.
I know.
Unfortunately, does not happen very
Yeah.
often.
Yeah.
But we had a good time in the hospital because it was like, oh my gosh, I'm away from my 1-year-old. This is vacation.
Right, it's vacation at that point, I
We
know.
popped champagne. Like,
Yeah.
it was just a time.
That's amazing, and you didn't tear with him either.
Nope. Great.
Felt good.
Felt good. Postpartum was fine up until it
Yeah.
wasn't.
Yeah.
We came home. We introduced the baby to the 1.5-year-old. And I remember it was maybe like the third night we were home. And this is a good memory for spoil alert for whenever, in a couple weeks we talk about. He was home maybe 3 nights. And in the middle of the night, it was 4 a.m. and he just would not sleep. Like
Yeah.
how they have their days and nights
Mhm.
mixed up. So I just give out and I'm laying on the floor playing with him because I was
Yeah.
like, he just wants to play. He's not going to go to sleep.
Yeah.
And Charles comes in and I was like, oh, sorry, we were trying to be quiet.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, I don't want to. I feel like I'm missing out.
Oh,
And so we all just laid on the floor and like played at 4 a.m. And I was
Yeah.
like, this is just, I have everything I ever wanted. It was
Yeah.
just great.
it's such a sweet memory.
Yeah, it really was. Then, all hell broke loose. And 3 weeks postpartum, my husband died in a car accident.
Mhm.
And that was the end of that.
Yeah.
The end of the end of everything, but it was no longer about postpartum. It's so crazy to even think that I was that newly postpartum. Hindsight. It's all a weird blur, but I feel like maybe because he was a big baby, he was a lot older.
Mhm.
And because my 1-year-old talked really early, that I felt like she was a lot older.
Mhm.
And since I was so in shock and so confused and whatever, I don't know, that I couldn't figure out why everyone was so worried.
Mm.
Like, I really, truly didn't understand at the beginning.
Yeah.
I was like, everyone's really freaking out. Like, that's how you're just, there was a like veil over me.
Yeah.
And I was in slow motion, just worried about feeding the baby.
Mhm.
And everyone was zooming around me doing stuff.
Yeah.
Like doing my laundry, making food, making plans. Like, paying bills, like, and I'm just sitting there like, I have a baby.
Mhm.
So I don't know if we're going to dive into that whole thing, but I will tell this part of the story because I don't think
Yeah.
I've ever told it, and it's an important part of like the beginning of the end,
Mhm.
I'd say, and then also just in a postpartum world. I remember my mom asking, like, years later, she goes, "Why were you dressed that day?" When a police officer knocked on our door at 9 a.m. And it was the first day we were supposed to have workers come to the house because
Mhm.
my push present was going to be a new pantry.
Mm.
So he had gone on a one-night work trip, one night, and it was the first day ever that I was home alone with both
And
babies.
Charlie was 3 weeks old?
He was 3 weeks old, and she was 21 months old. So he was napping in the bassinet. She was watching Cocomelon, and I, like, have my hair braided and I have on a bra
Mhm.
at 9 a.m.,
Right, very
Like,
rare.
very rare. Like, if you have 2 babies, that is not
Yeah.
a normal thing. I was so excited, and I get on a knock on the door, and I assume it's the workers to come do the pantry, and it's a police officer standing there, and in my head, I immediately knew.
Mm.
I don't know why, I just knew. I hadn't heard from him all morning, and I knew he had a, like, coffee meeting at 8:30.
Mhm.
And I was like, he would have called at like 7 a.m. because he knew we'd be up.
Yeah.
And I had just sent him a text message saying, "Where are you? I haven't heard from you. I'm worried."
Yeah.
And hindsight too, I think back, apparently they had come to my house to let me know at like 2 a.m. and they saw the newborn sign on my door. And the police officers like chose to not let me know that in the middle of the night, which was a huge blessing.
Yeah, that was kind.
Yeah. Because I also remember it was like a God thing. That was the first night Charlie slept like a 5-hour stretch.
Mm.
And I had texted him that right when I woke up. I was like, oh my gosh, he slept. Like, we slept. Yeah. So then, yeah, he came in and he told me that he'd gotten in a car accident. And I was so in shock. I kept asking him, like, I mean, take the postpartum out of it. It's so shocking and upsetting
Yeah.
and awful and traumatic. And then, like, I think back, I was 3 weeks postpartum and I had 2 babies.
I mean,
It's it was an out-of-body experience.
it's unthinkable. Like,
It
your
is.
hormones are already insane at 3 weeks postpartum.
Yeah.
Insane. I mean, I don't know about you, but I was, like, I mean, yeah, I was not normal in any way, shape, or form at 3 weeks postpartum.
No.
And your body, even with an ideal birth, has been through something incredibly transformative
Yep.
and is still healing for
Mhm.
months and months and months to come.
Mhm.
And then to now receive news like that, shift into a completely different reality. I mean, we were talking about this before we started. You were like, and this kind of goes with what you were saying with everyone was so worried about you. And you were like, I don't know why.
Yeah.
You were like, I don't think I've ever told anyone Charlie's birth story because it just went straight to,
It just went straight to that.
yes,
Like, we weren't even talking about postpartum was not even on the radar
right,
anymore.
right.
I mean, it it was insane. I do remember I started bleeding again.
Mm,
Like, I had stopped bleeding, like, a few
hmm.
days after because I had an easy birth.
Yeah,
And that day, I started bleeding heavily again, and I was like, "That's interesting."
it's so wild.
Yeah, and just I mean, you're shopping for a funeral dress that's breastfeeding friendly.
Right.
Like, that's insane.
That's not something that should, a sentence that should ever be.
No, it's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just it's crazy how the brain works. The policeman stayed with me. I don't have family in town either.
Yeah.
I don't have any family in town. I'd made a couple new friends that are moms, but really, I was just like, it took hours for him to make me call my parents.
Really?
And he just sat with me. And I kept, as I do, I obviously so in shock. He told me, and I go, okay, well, I have to feed the baby. I was like, I have to feed the baby. My daughter loves police cars. Can you show her the car while I feed the baby? And he was like, okay. He's like, oh no, she doesn't even know what I just said at all.
Yeah.
And then I came back after it takes 40 minutes to
Right.
feed a baby that's
Yeah.
that little. I come back and I was like, so what did you say earlier?
Why are you here again?
Why are you here? Yeah, literally. Yeah.
It's
And
not
he
two
had
of
to
the
tell me
pantry?
over and over again. And then he was like, you need to call somebody.
Yeah.
And I called my mom. This is awful. It's awful. I called my mom, and I've never said this in my life, but I go, you need to come to Atlanta right now. And she goes, okay. Like,
Right.
okay. And then I go, you need to come right now. She goes, okay, I'm coming. Can I ask you why? And I go, Charles died. And she was like, what? And I go, my husband died. My husband died. Mom, my husband died. And I started yelling it. And she was like, okay, I'm coming. And it's a maybe 1.5 hour drive, and they were there so quick.
Yeah.
And my dad just goes into go mode. And then the minute she got there, I cried for the first time. Because I just looked at her immediately and I go, I have 2 babies. And I said it over and over again. I looked like an insane person. I mean, I was an insane person.
Yeah.
I was just sitting there for hours saying, I have 2 babies. I have 2 babies.
Yeah.
What the fuck? I have 2 babies. It was, there's no words for it.
No.
Oh gosh. And then I had to call his mom. Oh, I have to tell his family. Oh, I mean, the levels of trauma are so insane. And then you add in, oh my gosh, I'm not sleeping because I'm waking up 2 hours every night to feed a baby.
Right.
Because for those of you who are listening who haven't been through intense grief or trauma, it consumes your body where you're exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
So I would wake up every morning for the next 6 months and feel like I've been hit by a truck.
Yeah.
Every inch of my body would be sore.
Yeah.
And all I wanted to do was lay in bed. And I couldn't.
Right. You had 2 little kids.
Yeah.
2 babies.
Yeah. Yep.
I can't imagine. I mean, thinking about your mom, I'm sure, at that moment she was like, I'm going to fly there. I don't even, just teleport. How can I get there as quickly as possible?
Oh,
And
I know.
Because you're still her baby too.
Yeah.
And then, no, I mean, it's just, there's so many.
It was, the next 2 years after that were really horrific.
Yeah.
I'd say, in the day-to-day horrific. And then if I look back at certain situations or a certain day, or I'll tell a certain story at a happy hour, just off the cuff, and people will stop and stare and be like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, that's not normal. Y'all didn't have that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it changes, obviously, this sounds like a duh, but it changes you forever in ways you can't ever imagine.
Yeah, I did not realize, I had never been through deep grief before anyway, but this kind of trauma and grief combined with all of the things was especially fun.
Yeah.
I'd like to say. My brain chemistry is completely different.
Yeah.
I now deal with depression, anxiety, ADHD, memory loss. I get extreme exhaustion after a social event.
Yeah.
It's gotten better, but at the beginning, if I went to, a kid's birthday party, I'd be bedridden for 2 days
Yeah.
because I'd have to, like, put on the facade.
Right.
And that's just to name a few. I've had digestive issues and gut issues. I lost 60 pounds in 6 weeks.
Yeah.
I
That's
had a six-pack by the time I was 6 weeks postpartum.
right.
That's not okay.
And I'm sure people were praising you or, saying how
Yeah,
great
they're
you
like, "Oh my
looked.
gosh, you look so good." And I'm like,
Like, it's this
"Are
new
you
diet. Trust me, you
insane?
don't wanna be on it.
You don't wanna be on
Yeah.
this." And that was, people I nursed Charlie. I breastfed him for 6 months,
It's incredible.
and no one understood why, and I was like, "It's the only thing keeping me alive."
Yeah.
Because if I didn't have to breastfeed him, this was my logic, that if I didn't have to breastfeed him, I wouldn't eat
Mhm.
because I don't care about it at all,
Right.
and I don't have an appetite, and I'm so nauseous.
Mhm.
And I would probably drink myself to death,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah.
And so I was like, he is that baby. And that's, I think, to this day and forever and ever, I have such a strong connection to him because he kept me alive.
Yeah.
Like, as hard as it was, there was a reason that I had him at that time.
Mhm.
Or I truly don't feel like I would even be alive, much less like where I am today.
I completely understand that.
Yeah.
And it's so wild. I know, like, you and I talk about signs and, like, God winks and stuff all the time, but the fact that you like, when he was born, the first thing you said was my soulmate.
Yes.
It's like, somehow, like, it just truly it was meant
They,
to
like,
be.
transformed, and sometimes I look at that kid and, like, I'll just stare at him as he's watching TV, and I just, like, feel Charles in him.
Yeah.
I'm just like, "You are" he is
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
I mean, he kept me alive. I was emailing, taking care of babies, and
Yeah.
saying, "Will you send me, like, a co-sleeping anything
Mhm.
advice because my husband just died and I can't sleep alone."
Right.
And that baby slept in the bed with me for a year
Yeah. I
because
completely get that.
yeah. I was like, he doesn't want to be alone. I don't want to be alone. I don't have anybody else in the bed.
Yeah.
So it was, I mean,
Yeah. I mean, I remember so Kit, my first, was born in June of
mhm.
that year. And so, Charlie was born not long after. And I remember like
So
watching you.
you were going through
Yes.
postpartum watching it.
Yes. And like putting myself or,
Very
in
much.
your shoes and thinking
Yeah.
about what it would be like. I distinctly remember I was still on maternity leave and my husband came home one day and I was like, I was sobbing and he was like, "What's wrong?" And I was like, you
Just
know,
keep,
I was,
and it's not that you can't imagine, you can imagine. And you're like, how?
yeah,
I think that's like one of the things as moms that have connected with people so much with
yeah,
my story is they're like, no, I can't imagine it.
yeah,
And I don't know how. I get it now that I'm out of it.
yeah,
When people were like, oh my God, you're so strong. And I'm like, what? Like, I don't know.
right.
I'm going on a 3-hour time frame every day,
Minute by minute.
minute by minute.
Yeah,
And you truly do what you have to do
yeah, to survive
to survive.
and keep
And,
those babies
and
alive.
yes, I mean, it was, I don't even know. There's so many stories and days of like, I'd just be home alone with those 2 babies for days and like not sleeping because they weren't on the same sleep schedule, by the way. If we, like, why?
Yeah,
My mom and I talk about this all the time because she was essentially my wife for like
yeah,
2 years. She'd
yeah,
come and visit like almost every week.
yeah,
And twins would have been easier because
yeah,
they'd be on the same schedule at
yeah,
least. Like I'd be not sleeping with him all night, and then he would go down for nap at like 12:30 because he
mhm,
was little, and wake up around 2:30, and Kenzie would go to nap at 2.
yeah,
So by the time I got her to sleep, he'd wake up, and I wouldn't have 1 second at all. I lost my marbles.
that would drive someone
Crazy.
to insanity without the added
Yeah.
factor of grief. I mean,
Right.
like,
Without that.
right, just that by itself, like the lack of sleep, no, I mean, it's just, yeah, it's,
I mean, there was one point in time Davis, who was on your podcast
Yes.
a couple weeks ago or whenever she was in town, and this was, there's so many God winks all the
Yeah.
time. She texted me, it might have been, was it your baby shower? It was somebody's baby shower.
Yeah.
And she was like, hey, I'm in town for a baby shower. Can I come over?
Yeah.
And I go, yeah, actually, could you come over like right now?
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm coming.
Mhm.
And I hadn't eaten in days.
Mm.
Like I couldn't remember. And I was really frail.
Mhm.
I was frail anyway, but I was about to pass out, but I was home alone with 2 babies. So I was like laying on the floor trying to stay awake until she got there because I was like so malnourished
Yeah.
and so exhausted. And so we got a babysitter for the kids, and she took me to like go get an IV and a sandwich, and like, I mean, and that's one of many stories. It was awful.
Yeah.
Every day. And so, I mean, long story short, I met my wonderful husband now. I'd say like, gosh, Charlie was 1.5,
Mhm.
which seems so young,
Mhm.
but every single day to me felt like 8 years.
You had lived lifetimes by that point.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when it was a year and a half later, I'm like, I've aged 8 years. What are you talking about? This
Yeah.
is too soon.
The
So, like,
person that I was a year and a half ago, that person doesn't exist. Like, it's not,
no,
you can't compare. It's not the same.
no.
She's gone. This is a new person. Like, this is,
Yes.
yeah.
And, a year and a half of like solo parenting day in and day out I can't even.
Yeah.
Anyone who does it is a superwoman.
Mhm.
So I met him at a wedding like a year out, and
Yeah.
I didn't really give him the time of day. But we went on our first date when I think Charlie was about a year and a half, and
Yeah.
Kinsey was 3.
Yeah. How do you like I mean, did he know? Like, did someone give him a heads up, Like a friend?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. They gave him the heads up because he
How do you even
said,
approach that? Like,
yeah, he said later on, he told me this story later on because he was like, I actually saw you at one of the engagement parties for that same
Yeah.
wedding, but all my friends were like, nope, nope,
Nope.
nope, nope. They were like, dude, listen, you don't want to. And he was like, well, maybe I do. And they were
Yeah.
like, no, nope,
Yeah.
it's not the time.
Not yet.
And he just like clicked with the kids so easily. Like, I think one of his callings in life was to be a dad,
Yeah.
and it just fit and it was easy. And oh my gosh, the way because I mean, talking about the kids' grief is a whole other thing.
Mhm.
The way their attitudes and personalities and anxiety calmed down
Yeah.
once we were with him a while.
Mm.
It was insane. Like, they needed, I mean, kids need a father figure. They
Yeah.
do. And he just swooped in, didn't blink an eye.
What a special guy.
Yes. Yes. I mean, it was like the second time he ever came to my house, and I was like, well, the kids are still awake. I got to put them down. He's like, I'll read them books. I was like, what?
It's amazing.
I was like, what? All right. I was
Go
like,
for it.
okay.
Yeah. And I mean, I
Right.
guess we should say too, like, he didn't have kids of his own.
No, yeah,
Yeah.
he did not. He was a full bachelor.
Yeah.
Bachelor pad in Buckhead on a high rise.
Yeah.
He was like living, doing whatever the hell he wanted to
Right.
all the time. And then we get married and he has 2 toddlers and a full family. And I'm like, you signed up for this, buddy.
I know.
Welcome.
Yes. I mean, it's amazing.
It's
Yeah.
a lot to process.
Yes, it is.
Even as I'm talking about it, I don't feel like I've processed it.
Yeah. Do you sometimes still like wake up and think it was all dream?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll have dreams often about Charles anyway, but certain dreams are very, very vivid.
Yeah.
And it will take me a minute when I wake up to like come to.
To like reorient.
Yeah. It is really wild.
Yeah.
The first year out every single morning, it would take me 10 minutes at the least to remember that, like, this is life and that this actually happened. And that's why I lost weight so quickly, not just from eating, but I'd get sick every single morning.
Yeah.
Every morning for a year and a half.
Yeah. Your body's
And
like
I
trying to expel the trauma. Like,
yes. And still to this day, every like holiday or the kid's birthday or our like old wedding anniversary or his birthday, I'm so sick all day.
yeah.
Like my body just knows.
Yeah.
It is crazy.
Yeah. I do think people handle like trauma and feelings and stuff in different ways. And I am like you, like all of my feelings manifest physically. Like I'm nervous, I get a stomach ache. Like,
Yes.
you know, I am sad, I get a like pounding headache, you know? And obviously yours was just this like extreme
Yes.
version of it. And it's interesting though, like with the kids and Sean, like the fact that he brought that like calm to their little nervous systems.
Yeah. Yeah.
And for you to like witness that, you know, like literally see it happening.
I mean, and I kept telling him, I was like, you don't understand, like, I mean, because he would come over maybe a few times a week while we were dating. And it'd normally be, you know, after work. So it's nighttime. It's like witching hour. And I was like, you don't understand. Like, a few months ago, before we met you, they would all be screaming.
Yeah.
I mean, screaming, crying, wouldn't go to sleep. Kinsey went through, once Charlie finally got to sleep, she'd be awake all night and, you know, had no one to, you can't tap out.
Right.
No one to tap out with.
No teammate.
And her anxiety levels, because she remembered.
Yeah.
She was old enough to remember. And it really was a life-changing in so many ways, but like they needed that security.
Yeah.
So it was truly meant to be all the way around of meeting him for sure.
You don't have to talk about this at all if you don't want to, but
No.
I feel like it might help someone else. Like, how did you navigate those conversations with them? Like, especially with Charlie, because how do you like tell him because he doesn't know? And then I don't know, like,
So I think this is a big curiosity for a lot of people of like, how'd you introduce him or whatever? And I was like, you don't understand. I would have people at my house almost every day.
Right.
So like we had 8,000 uncles.
Yeah.
Or, you know, like all of Charles's friends would come over and help with yard work.
Yeah.
I mean, I had the best support system possible. Or like his friends from high school would come visit. My brothers would come visit.
Yeah.
So like at the beginning, that was just another like friend coming over,
Right.
you know? It was no different than anybody else coming over to help mommy, you know? And then he started hanging out more and more and more. So they kind of got used to him. And Charlie was too little to ever really explain anything to. He didn't know any different.
Right.
He's never known any different.
Right.
Fortunately and unfortunately. So with Kinsey, I vividly remember it was the week before Sean proposed. And I knew he was going to. He's like, thinks I didn't. We always know.
I feel like you have to talk about it when
have
you
to
have
know.
this, when you have this many logistics in your life.
We had so
you have to talk about it.
We have talked. I was like, we talked about every single like. Oh my gosh,
Also,
we got
you've
close
had enough
real
surprises in your life. You like even
Truly.
a good one. I feel like is
I said that. I said that to my sister-in-law. Actually, I was like, listen, and I wasn't related to her yet, but his sister-in-law too. I was like, listen, I can't do another surprise, so y'all are gonna have to tell me when this is because I need to have a good reaction. Like I can't be caught off guard and cry for the wrong reasons, y'all. And like truly though, it was, you know, we had talked about everything under the sun of, you know, I think I know when he asked my dad about it and they went and had a big talk, my dad was like, so are you going to adopt them? And he was like, yeah, that's the plan.
Yeah.
You know, all these things you have to get deep real quick when like little kids are involved. So it was, I think, a week before he proposed and we were at a birthday party and like he had come to like all the kids' little birthday parties of our friends and stuff. And one of the little he pulled up and one of their little friends goes, "Oh, Kinsey, look, there's your daddy."
Oh.
And every parent in the room like looked at me and I was like, and then I saw Kinsey's like little wheels turning in her head and she didn't say anything. And then a couple hours later, she goes, "Mommy, is Mr. Sean my daddy?"
Yeah.
And he was kind of sitting there and I go, "Well, no, but if you want him to be, he might be. Maybe one day, if you like that idea."
Yeah.
She goes, "I think I'm going to start calling him daddy."
Oh.
And I was like, we weren't even engaged.
Oh
I
my
was like,
God.
oh God.
Like,
and
don't be scared, Sean.
Literally, she went to sleep and I go, "You can't leave me now."
Yeah.
I go, "You cannot leave me." I'm not. And
For
I was like,
Kenzie's
good.
sake, you can't.
I was like, it's done.
Yeah.
Like, we just got engaged right now. I don't know if you know this.
There wasn't a ring, but this was a proposal.
This was the moment that
Yes.
we got engaged.
I
Because I
love
was
it.
like,
Kenzie
now
made
it's
it
here.
happen.
Yeah.
She was like, we need to, come on.
She's like, "I would like him to be around a little bit more often." I was like, "Same, girl. I need some
my
help."
God.
So, yeah. I mean, it was just a natural, there was never a big conversation about it. It was a natural progression that seemed very organic.
Yeah.
And then a year after we got married, we officially adopted them.
Yeah.
And we had like a big party with all of our friends and family, and it was so fun and like the best day. And now I have a third baby.
Yes. Did they take his name or did they?
No.
Yeah.
I went back and forth on it a lot. And in Georgia, I don't know how it is for every state, but if you change their name to like their adoptive dad's name on the birth certificate, it will change.
Yeah.
And I didn't love that.
Yeah.
Like taking Charles off the birth certificate because he's their birth father.
Right. Especially because Charlie's a junior.
And Charlie's a junior. And so I just was like, if they want to change their names later on in life, go for it.
I think that's a great solution.
Like, Kinsey's already mentioned it.
Yeah.
She's 6. And I'm like, I love that. Let's wait till you're a little older and we'll talk about it again. Because it is kind of confusing with like school emails, I will say. But, you know, I didn't want to make that decision for them.
I think that's wise. And I do feel like it's a bit different for girls. Some people may roll their eyes and say this is like very traditional of me. But like, you know, Kinsey might change her name one day anyways when she gets married. Whereas for a man, like if they're, you know, it's kind of their name for life if they want it to be.
Yeah.
And
then he could have like a Charlie the third or whatever. So I think it's just, I already see them making 2 different decisions.
Yeah.
But also Charlie's never even known another father. So I could be totally wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And they call Charles Angel Daddy? Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, they ask, and we talk about Angel Daddy all the time. He comes to visit us. He's a hawk. He's the sunshine.
Yeah.
He watches over us all the time. And, you know, recently Kinsey has missed him a little bit more. So we've had to, you know, deal with that. And that's going to be a lifelong thing. And it's something that no one can prepare you for. Like,
no.
And again, like, there's no one to ask.
Right. There's no guidebook.
There's no guidebook on this. There's no like one-on-one book for this. So it's just day by day still, I think. And it always will be like that regarding like grief with children is so different.
Oh my God.
Because it seems to fall right when I'm feeling better. Because I go through waves. And I'll be the day I'm better after, you know, a griefy couple days or something. And she'll just be bawling, crying. And I'm like, oh God. It's going to be hard forever.
In some ways this is me looking from the outside in.
Yeah.
In some ways that's good because then at least you aren't in your grief at the same time and you can be there for her and like be more supportive and like be that strength. But I don't know. I mean, there's no good.
It's just going to be, it is what it is.
Yeah.
And I tell them all the time, I'm like, yeah, you're so lucky. You have 2 daddies that love you. One that watches over you from the sky all the time. And then one that's here to like wrestle and play and take you to movies. And, they're at a movie right now. They're,
Yeah.
and so that's how I kind of talk about it with them at this age. I
Yeah.
think each age will be different,
Yeah.
but right now I try to talk about it in a happy way
Yeah.
because they just don't need that right now.
No.
Like, they're just too little
Yeah.
and they don't really understand it.
Yeah.
And so I don't need them to be, like, more upset than they already are.
Yeah. Yeah.
And as they get older, we'll talk more about it and all that, but
Mhm. Let them have, like, the joy and the happy while they can, because I'm
yeah.
sure that it will come,
Yeah.
as they get older and they understand, and they'll
They're gonna grow up a
process
little
it,
bit
and you'll
quick.
reprocess.
Yes, and I think, like, they had to grow up quicker than others in their grade,
Yeah.
and they had a different, first 3, 4 years of life
Yeah.
than all their friends, and I don't wanna put any more of that on them. Like,
Yeah.
right now, we're in a phase of life, like, let's just focus on all the good things happening in
Yeah.
our life,
Yeah.
and it's just a not right now
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, last thing I wanted to say, and then I wanna talk about how you and Sean decided to have Elizabeth,
Oh,
but,
I love this one.
um, I remember when I texted you about doing this,
Mhm.
and I think maybe we had texted and then it had fallen off, and then one morning I was sitting in my office,
Mhm.
and I was like, "I need to text Julie again and, like, follow up with her." And as I was writing the text, I was, like, trying to think about what to say, and I look out my window, and a hawk
Oh, yes.
flew and sat on the light, like, on our deck, and, like, which is, like, eye level with my window, and I've never seen this hawk around our house. Flew and sat there and, like, looked at me as I, like, have my text messages open to text you.
He's creepy like
And I
that.
took a picture, and I was
Yep.
like, I
He'll
didn't say it at the time, but I was like, "I feel like this is Charles being like, 'You have my blessing to, like, talk about this.'" Like, go on the podcast, and, like,
100%.
I was like, "Oh my god, this is so crazy." Like, gives me chills, like,
It's
it
wild.
was wild.
He shows up always at the right time. It
Yeah.
is crazy. If I'm in a depressive state, I don't like to leave the house. So, like, if I'm not feeling well and I leave the house for, like, a social event, he'll fly, like, almost into my car, like, "Proud of you," you know?
I love that so
And
much.
just every time we're in the backyard playing, a hawk will fly
Yeah.
by. I mean, every time I'm on the interstate, because he got in a wreck on the interstate, that I'll see a hawk every single time. And I'm like, I don't think other people see a hawk
I
like
I don't think
this.
hawks fly close to the
I
interstate
don't
very
think they
often,
do. One
no.
time it was sitting on the side of the road, like not on the wood side, in the median side,
Yeah.
just a huge hawk sitting there as I drove by. And I was like, did anyone else see that? That was a
Yeah.
hawk. I'm driving 70 miles an hour.
Yes. It's crazy. I mean, we could do a whole other podcast episode about this, because I get all
Truly.
kinds of crazy signs from my dad as well,
Hmm.
who's on the other side, and yeah, it's absolutely him,
Oh, yeah. I mean,
without a doubt.
he's made it clear as day.
Yeah.
I have so many good stories about that. That could be a whole
We
hour.
need
But
to,
yeah.
yes, after this, let's refill the wine glasses and keep
Yes.
going.
Yes. Refill after that
Oh,
story.
yes.
Oh,
Um, but okay, so speaking of happy things,
yes.
so when you and Sean, like, knew that it was gonna be for real long term,
Hmm.
did you immediately know you wanted to have another baby with him, or
Yes.
yeah.
I'd always wanted 3 anyway,
Yeah.
and he didn't have kids of his own, and, like, I can feel the love he has for Kenzie and
Yeah.
Charlie, and this isn't discounting that, but I felt like it was important for us to have another baby, just us 2, so he could see it from the start,
Yeah, experience it.
'cause, I mean, Charlie was 1.5 when we started dating, but, like, it's so different watching the pregnancy happen and then the birth and then the postpartum, and it's like s I felt like that would help him be a better dad for them too,
Mhm.
because he can understand it from, "Oh my gosh, she did all this, like,
By herself.
by herself,
Yeah.
and then no wonder she feels this way about this little them writing their name." You know what
Right.
I mean?
Right, yeah.
And so, and it has, like,
Yeah.
he gets it now, you know?
Mhm.
Um, and so and Elizabeth, I truly feel like she was just brought to this earth to be, like, sunshine and rainbows,
She's
and
so stinking cute.
she's so cute, and she's so funny, and I swear it's when it's like days when life, it just feels heavy or so much going on. And she's just so funny and makes us all laugh. And the 2 older ones love her.
Mm.
And it's just great. It's just great. I just feel like it was the exact right timing.
Yeah.
I mean, we had her 9 months after we got married.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. But that's what we needed. Like,
Yeah.
that's what our little family needed to feel complete
Yeah.
and
You were ready.
connected. Yeah.
And I feel like too, A, when you're older, and B, when you've been through a lot of shit, you're
Yeah.
like, we're not messing around. Like,
Right.
what's the point in waiting? Like,
Right.
let's keep living life. Let's do all the things we want to do. Let's have this baby that we want to have. Like, yeah, do it.
Yes. And we were like, we're already in the thick of it.
Yeah.
Let's just be
Keep
in the
going.
thick of it and keep treading.
Yeah.
And one day we'll come up for air.
Yeah.
One day. No, she's a spitfire. That pregnancy was awful, even though the other ones weren't that bad.
Yeah.
And so I would joke that it was Sean's fault, and he would be like, "Okay, that's not funny." I'm like, I just have a dark sense of humor.
Yeah. You know what you signed up for.
Truly.
Yeah.
I'm like, you knew I was gonna say that at some point. But again, like when we were talking about this at the beginning,
Yeah.
I was like, I don't think I've ever even talked about Elizabeth's birth to anyone either, because it was like, oh, 3rd baby.
Right. Yeah.
I didn't even have a meal train set up. And I texted like one of my friends. I was like, hey, it was like 3 weeks postpartum. And I was like, can you set up a meal train for me? Like, we're dying over here.
Yeah.
I had 2 toddlers and a newborn in the middle of the summer.
Oh my God.
So they weren't in school.
Oh God.
And, my mom's the same way. She's like, you got this at this point. And I was like, do I?
She's like, you've done harder things.
I was like, yes.
Yeah.
And that's what everybody was like, you've done harder things. And I was like, okay, but like, I'm dying.
And also, just because you've done harder things doesn't mean that
this isn't hard.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, we've never been more tired.
Oh my God.
But it's something to look back on. I mean, if this isn't 3rd kid vibes, I don't know what is. She's born June 29th, and we were at the 4th of July pool party on July 4th.
I remember seeing that and being like, wow.
She was 3 days old.
Yeah.
3.5 days old.
Yeah.
Everyone came up to us, and I was like, I mean, what were we supposed to do? Like, these 2 hellions over here wanted to go, and were running around our house.
Yeah.
And we had to get out of the house. Like,
yes.
You don't have a choice.
Yes. I totally relate to that. With the second, it was like that for me.
Yes.
So leading up to her birth, I mean, I imagine that like it was really complex for you, knowing that you were you'd be heading into postpartum again. And the last time you were in postpartum was horrible.
Mm-hmm. I had severe PTSD.
Yeah.
Severe.
Yeah.
There was a 3-month span during my pregnancy that I didn't leave the house.
Yeah.
At all. I would do like carpool, I think, in the mornings, drop them off, but I had other people pick them up. Like, I couldn't move.
Yeah.
Which I thought I was kind of really preparing for postpartum.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of like warning, I guess, friends and family and be like, hey, be ready. Like, I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But it was, I think, the leading up to it that was so hard.
Yeah.
Instead.
The anticipation.
Yes. And just like, I wasn't on my normal like medication, by the way, like I had severe depression anyway.
Yeah.
I wouldn't let Sean go anywhere.
Yeah.
He normally travels for work too. Yay, I married another traveler. That was smart. But after she was born, he canceled all of his trips for like the first 3 months or so.
Good.
In preparation to like we tried to prepare as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had my therapist on call. I had a lot of people like checking in on me. But it was the pregnancy, I think, that hit the hardest.
Yeah.
Because pregnancy's hard.
Right.
Anyway.
It's so hard on your body. Yeah.
It's so hard on your body. I was
mentally
older. Yeah. I'd been through trauma. I I went into early labor at 22 weeks.
Oh my gosh. Did you get put on bed rest or? Oh
So I was supposed to be on bed rest, but I have 2 toddlers.
right. So about that.
So not really.
Yeah.
Then I started bleeding heavily at like 30 weeks.
God, Julie.
And then, but this was the only baby that came without an induction.
Yeah.
So that was, we'll take a win.
Positive, yes.
We'll take a win where we can get it.
Yes.
And I will say I was thinking about it this morning before I came here, and I was like, that is the main difference in how my labor and birth went with her was solely trusting my gut and intuition, which I didn't do with the first 2.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's a blessing with a third is Sean was like very in awe, I guess. He was like, you literally were telling the doctors what to do.
Oh, that's amazing.
By the end of it, because I was like, I just knew.
Yeah.
It was weird. And I think because of everything that I had been through, I trust my intuition a lot more than like what it says on paper.
Right.
So that I had been in false labor for months.
Yeah.
Months. So it's like, still you would think with a third pregnancy, you're doing, you don't,
No.
it's no
They're
clue.
Everyone's different.
They were all so different.
Yeah.
So it was hard for me to know if it was real or not.
Yeah.
But I just woke up and I was like, I think I was having back cramps, which were different than the first 2. And it was just kind of like a slow, steady pain, like a slow, steady cramp, and not like anything I could time.
Not like a wave.
Right. But it was Saturday. This is how your mind works when you have 2 other toddlers. It was Saturday. And I didn't feel good. And I was 38 weeks. And I was like, oh, well, this would be good timing because our brother and sister-in-law could come over and watch our kids until my mom got in town. So I think this is a good day to go in.
Yeah, it
I was
seems
like,
logistically sound.
Yes. I was like, I don't feel great. And something's just telling me it's today.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was. I was like, I think it's the day. So we go in, we check in at like 12:30 to the hospital. And I'm in a good amount of pain, but also, again, because of what I've been through, I'm like, what is physical pain?
Right.
I don't know. I'm fine.
Yeah.
They're like, are you good? I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah.
Full contractions. Like once they put you on the monitor, full huge contractions. Yeah. And she was like, do you feel that? And I was like, kinda. She was like, what? The nurses were astounded. I was like, I don't,
Yeah, it's a long story.
It's a long story. It's a lot of trauma there. I was like, it feels like nothing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they almost sent me home because I was 4.5 centimeters instead of 5.
Okay. Was 5 like the cutoff they told? Or
yes. They were like, well, we can't keep you unless you're 5 centimeters and contracting every 3 minutes. And I was like, well, I'm contracting every 3 minutes and I'm 4 centimeters.
Right.
So I think I'll wait here.
Yeah.
Because they were going to send me home. And had it been my first pregnancy, I would have been like, oh, darn, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I'll go home. So thank God I didn't.
Was this Northside?
Yes. And I was like, no, I'm going to stay here. This is my 3rd baby. You send me home. By the time I get home and come back and check back in and do all this shit that just took me an hour and a half.
Yeah.
I'll have a baby in the car.
That's so insane to me that it's so insane. Like that you were obviously in labor.
I was in labor and they should look at my chart and be like, she already has had 2 pregnancies. Babies. Like this will come quick.
Right.
That was wild to me. And my mom had just gotten to the hospital and she was like, oh, you're not going home. You're in labor. I was like, I know. It was.
You're telling me.
Yeah, you're telling me.
Yeah.
So I felt totally fine. I was laboring for a couple hours there. It was maybe mid-afternoon. And they come rushing in. And they're like, how do you feel? And I was like, I feel fine. The baby's heart rate was like 300 or something insane. God. So they immediately broke my water. And they're like, well, good thing you were here. Yeah. Oh. Whose idea was that? Everyone, you're welcome.
Can we just take a minute?
Because I felt totally normal. And Sean and I have talked about this so many times. I was like, what if we had gone home
Right.
and I wouldn't have felt any different.
No.
And her heart rate was going crazy because she was ready to come out.
Yeah. And you didn't have an epidural or anything at this point. So you're
No.
you're still feeling everything. And yeah.
So they break my water. I get an epidural.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like, yeah, you're staying.
Yeah.
Like, no shit.
Yeah.
And the epidural does not work.
Ugh.
And I'm like, yeah, that's not working. I feel everything. I hate life. So they come back. They do another one, which if you haven't had an epidural, it's a long needle. Don't love it. Not my favorite thing, but it's a good outcome.
Yeah.
And my labor with her was quick, thank goodness, but really intense. I was in my, I guess, heart rate or my vitals were just all over the place. And I was in between either passing out or throwing up the whole time. So I'd go like, Sean, get the nurse. And I'd like fall back.
God.
Just very, very out of it and just kept passing out.
Yeah. Is he like freaking out? That's scary.
He doesn't remember it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think probably.
Yeah, he's like blacked it out.
Yes.
Yeah.
He remembers it being so casual and normal.
Yeah.
I'm
yeah.
like, okay.
Compartmentalizing.
Sure. Great. You think what you want to think. And there was a 5-minute span. Again, this is where just like intuition kicked in, where I wasn't nauseous and I didn't feel like I was going to pass out.
Yeah.
And so I called the nurse and I go, I feel like I should push right now while I'm conscious. Literally, quote unquote. I feel like I should push since I'm conscious right now.
Was she like, what?
And she was like, okay, I'll see if the midwife is here to like check you. They weren't going to come back for like 2 hours to check me. She comes in. She's like, oh, you're 10 centimeters. It's like, I looked at everybody in the room. I was like, of course I am. You're welcome.
Yes.
You're welcome.
How long has this been from when you got there?
This was maybe 7 p.m.
Okay.
7:30.
Okay.
And we got there at noon.
Yeah, so pretty quick.
Very quick.
Yeah.
And I pushed for a solid 6 minutes.
Wow.
And she came right out. Sean pulled her out. They let him pull her out.
Good for him for wanting to do it.
I know.
That's awesome.
It was very cool. And they filmed it, and then I look back at the video footage, and you can hear the nurse say, "Turn off the camera." And she's blue. She comes out fully blue and not crying, and they immediately take her away. And I, adrenaline, because I was about to pass out again. So I was like, I got to push while I'm conscious, I ended up hemorrhaging and lost half my blood. So while I'm hemorrhaging, I'm like trying to stay awake and not pass out until she cries. Yeah. And then I hear her cry and they're like, she's good. And I go.
And you were gone. Yeah.
I'm gone. And then after that, everything was smooth sailing,
After all of that.
After all of this, if you've listened from the beginning, just after that, after the past 5 years.
Oh my God.
So anyway, no, she was fine after that. Just
and
needed
you were
a little.
Okay.
And, yeah, I just.
Did you just get a transfusion or anything?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't think I did.
Okay.
And then I had post-eclampsia.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I had the baby. I got home. A week after we got home, I started swelling up like a balloon. I could not open my eyes. My feet, you see my feet, they're pretty bony.
Pretty slender.
Balloon.
Okay, talk more about this, because this is something that people don't know a lot about. And it's a weird, fear of mine that I've always had, that I would have post-eclampsia.
I did not know it was a thing.
Yeah.
I did not know it was a thing. And I couldn't figure out what was going on. I was chugging water. I was so hydrated. I was not eating that much sodium. And I was like, this has never happened to me before. And it was awful. And it took, I'd say 2 months to go down, to even where I looked like I was 9 months pregnant again.
Wow. Did you have to go to the hospital? Because it can be life-threatening.
Yes, I'm an idiot and did not. I was downplaying it a lot and finally went into the doctor. And by that point, they were like, well, you're doing all the right things.
Yeah.
But yeah, you should have come in maybe like 3 weeks ago. I was like, right. So I have 3 babies at home and it's summer. So
That wasn't an option.
I'm here now.
Yeah. Was
But it
your
was,
blood pressure high when they
mm-hmm,
oh my god.
mm-hmm.
Wow.
I mean, there's like maybe 2 or 3 pictures of me that whole month because I didn't want to go anywhere because I was so embarrassed. I thought that I was like, why am I gaining? I thought I was just gaining weight
Yeah.
from breastfeeding. I
Yeah.
don't know what I thought,
Yeah.
but it definitely wasn't normal.
Yeah.
I looked bigger 3 weeks postpartum than I did 9 months pregnant.
Yeah, that's definitely not
No,
normal.
no.
Yeah.
So that was interesting
Yes.
and not ideal.
Yeah.
That'll be the title of this. Not
Not
ideal.
ideal.
None of this is ideal,
No,
to say the
to
least.
say the least.
Not ideal.
But Elizabeth is here.
But she's here and she's perfect and so silly and funny, and I would do it all over again.
Yeah.
You know?
And besides the post-eclampsia, like, I mean, I think I remember you saying this, that you were like, "Oh, this is what postpartum is supposed to be like." Like,
Yes.
it can be beautiful and happy, and you can have a teammate, and obviously you
Yes.
experienced that with
Yes.
Kenzie too, but
But not, I mean, yeah, but it
well,
was
COVID though,
yeah. It
yeah.
was just, I think I was also very excited to have a third baby to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Because I thought I was going to get that with Charlie.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, I can enjoy this one now because
Right.
it's not COVID and
It's not
it's
your
not my
first
first
baby.
baby and I got the hang on things and I didn't.
Yeah.
So the third time I was like, this is the one.
Yes.
We're going to enjoy this baby. And I was like, I'm not going to go back to work right away.
I know.
I am staying home. I'm not sending her to daycare at 10 weeks.
I know.
You know, and she's still home with me. Like,
Yeah.
I can't let it go because I'm like
Yeah.
holding on to what I didn't get to experience
Yeah.
with the first 2.
Yeah.
And it's so nice.
Oh,
It's
so
so
glad.
nice.
I'm so glad you have that.
I get to redo it. And
Yeah.
it's like truly a blessing. I mean, I know that word gets, I think, thrown around a lot, but like
No.
just, you know, I will say in all my hardships, fertility's not one, yay.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
we have that.
Yes.
And she, you know, we didn't have to like stress about that part.
Yeah.
And, you know, so there's certain things where we got to just look at the silver linings.
I'm sure some days it's easier than others to do it, but
Yes, that's for sure.
well, from where I'm sitting, you are doing an amazing job.
Thanks. It has been a time.
Yeah.
It has been a time. I mean, it's funny when I go to my therapy sessions every now and then. I think it was maybe early on, maybe 6 months in when I went and I was like, well, you know, first I had Kinsey in COVID and then Charlie I had in COVID. And then, you know, I was just kind of listing it all. And she goes, oh, so you've been in trauma, like fight or flight survival mode for 5 years.
Yeah.
And I was like, huh. Well,
Yes.
yes. Yes. She's like, so no wonder you're tired.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I know. Have you seen this video that's going around of Leanne Rhymes getting
Yes.
the like adjustment
Yes.
in her jaw? And then she's
Yes.
just like, I want that. But I'm also
Yes.
kind of scared.
I got it done.
You did?
Yes.
Okay, so tell people what this is.
It wasn't as dramatic as
Okay.
hers, I will say. But so my jaw was like, I clench at night.
Yeah.
I'll get Botox injections to loosen up that muscle, all the things.
Yeah.
And I went and got a massage one day and she was like, you know, I specialize in that.
And what's it called?
It's called like TMJ massage.
Release.
It's a special, I don't know what it's
called.
called. But she was like, I can do it for you next time if you want to. And I was like, okay.
Yes.
And the difference, I stopped getting migraines. My face was thinner, like, because it's like a chunk of like muscle
Mhm.
that's tension and
Yeah.
stress in there. I was really sore. It felt
Mm.
sore for like a week. And then I felt 10 pounds lighter. I felt like it was a release of a weight off my shoulders, but
Yeah.
literally a weight off my head. Like the tension was gone immediately.
Yeah.
It was life-changing.
Wow.
So now I got that 2 years ago. I get it once or twice a year.
Okay, I need you to send me the information for the
Yes.
person.
Yes. She does it out of her home. I'll send it to you. It is fantastic. I think probably because she had 40 years of built
Mhm.
up, that was probably
Right.
her reaction was a little bit more than mine was, because I only had 3 years of whatever it was, you know? But it's legit, I will say.
Okay, I
A
will be
lot of
doing
people
that.
online were like, "This is weird," and I
No,
can confirm.
I believe it 100%.
Yes, and she taught me how to do it at
Oh,
home a
cool.
little bit. I'm not as good, but I'll do it at home once or twice a month for,
Yeah.
like, quote, unquote, "upkeep," so it
Yeah.
doesn't get so bad again.
Yeah.
And it's just like a jaw massage that I'll do in the shower.
So cool.
Like, I did it this morning,
I love it.
and it's just so much better. I can't even tell you.
Okay, I
Yeah.
definitely need to look into this.
Mhm.
Fascinating.
I know.
Mm.
There's so many things that I didn't even know existed
Yeah,
that now I'm like, all the things. The woo-woo
I
stuff,
know.
woo-woo therapy, massage, God, I don't care.
Vibration plates.
Vibration plates, whatever works. I'll
Yes.
try or do or believe in any of it.
I know. That's how I am too. I'm like, it does not hurt me at all to try something.
No.
So why not give it a go? Or to believe something. Like if it makes me happy to believe that my dad is talking to me through like little signs and, who's that hurting?
Nobody.
No one. It's helping me.
Nope.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm the
Yeah.
same way.
Yeah.
So,
Ugh.
yeah.
Well, I always like to bring it back to birth at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And so, will you describe birth in 3 words?
Ooh.
Just whatever comes to mind, like rapid fire.
Orgasmic.
Oh, I love that. Wait, tell me
Mhm.
more about why you say that.
There's no high like it.
Yeah.
I've
Yes.
told so many people this. I'm like, I would chase that high all day.
Even when it's bad, quote unquote,
Even
or
when it's
hard.
bad or hard.
Yes.
There's nothing like it. Like,
Yeah.
the minute that baby comes out, you created a life,
Yes.
and the hormone surge and a baby on your, like,
It's addictive.
it is
I
addictive.
know. I say all the time that I would totally give birth again and
Yes.
again, but I don't want to be pregnant and I don't want to raise the
Right.
kid and I don't want to be a surrogate.
I'll just give birth, like, for that day.
Yes.
It is like a high that's very addictive, and I can
unbeatable.
see why people have a lot of kids,
Yeah.
because it's the best feeling in the world.
Totally.
I would say, gosh, empowering and spiritual.
Yeah.
Like, I personally feel like it would be very hard not to believe in something bigger than us after you created a life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And witnessing it and going through it, it solidifies a lot.
Yeah.
For me personally, it did.
Yeah. You're not the only one to say that.
Yeah.
I feel the same way. And also when you said spiritual, what came to mind for me was like birth is this moment where the veil is kind of thin, right?
Yes.
Like you're literally bringing life into the world. Like
Mhm.
it's just, yeah, it's wild. There's nothing like it. And it's incredible.
Yeah. It is the coolest thing in the world.
Yes. Coolest thing I've ever done. That's
for
sure.
sure. For sure.
Oh, well, thank you so much for doing this. I acknowledge that it's not the easiest thing to talk about. And I'm so appreciative that you will come and spend this time with me and talk about this. I really am.
Thanks. This was, another part of the healing journey. Like,
Yeah.
it's one more thing that I hadn't talked about yet, which
Yeah.
was nice for me, but also hopefully anybody who needs it
Yeah.
will listen. So,
Well, thank you.
you're welcome.
All right. You've been listening to the Arrivals podcast. Until next time.